Interesting article this week on ESPN.com, which gave the floor and ceiling for every NFL team this season. As for the Patriots, they think their ceiling is 10-7. Reasonable. Their floor, though, 5-12. Ugh. This is where we begin our deep dive as we bring in an outside perspective on this matter. We welcome in Matt Schneidman, who covers the Packers for The Athletic, alongside our own Tom E. Curran. Matt, we're going to lean heavily on you in this segment because we want to know what somebody else thinks of the Patriots. You got to watch them 2 days at practice. You just heard me say what ESPN thinks of them. Ceiling of 10-7, floor of 5-12. Do you see them closer to their ceiling or their floor?
Well, defense wins championships, right? That means they're going to win the Super Bowl from what I watched yesterday. Patriots have a really good secondary. Jordan Love probably got the better of this defense on Wednesday, but the number of times I wrote down Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, Jabril Peppers mainly just for trash talking in my notebook, Matthew Judon, they got some dogs on that defense, and I was really impressed with what Bill Belichick has on that side of the ball. Yeah,
they did show out, and it's funny because when you take day one away from watching the offense and what Jordan Love did to the Patriots defense, they did flip it. Greg Bedard talked about the Patriots' shortcomings here. But when I look at the Patriots, maybe a little hyperbolically stated because I wanted to make a point, that this could be a 10, 11, or 12-win team. I would say 11 would be their ceiling, but I don't think that their floor is that low. I can't imagine a Bill Belichick team that's not in a total and utter rebuild with the number of competent, not great, but competent players at so many different levels, being a team that finishes multiple games on. 7 is the limit, but I would say 8 or 9 would be. I'd be gobsmacked if they finished under 7 or under.
Yeah, to me, their floor and their ceiling are it's a very small room, guys. the ceiling might be 10, but I think it's a tiny room. It's a tiny house. Their floor, to me, is more like 7 or 8 games. Matt, when you watch them, though, do you look at the Patriots? And, if we can be honest, we kind of know now that defenses don't always win championships. So do you think this is a playoff team? And it's okay if you don't. We expect opposing positions here.
I'm going to say no just because they probably play in the toughest division in football. And here in Green Bay, I cover a team that plays in arguably the worst division in football. AFC South is probably worse. But if you have to play a Jets team with Aaron Rodgers, the Bills, and the Dolphins twice each year, that's probably not going to fare well for you. Now, if the Patriots were in the NFC North, they probably would be a playoff team. So it's kind of the luck of the draw, but I liked what they saw from their defense. That's the side of the field I watched the last 2 days, since all anyone cares about here in Green Bay is Jordan Love and how he does. But from what I saw, all things go for the Patriots.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, too, is we're catching snapshots, and we don't know when we get to, okay, how do they finish on January 10th? How many wins do they end up having? It's a fun exercise to just handicap where it is and then look back, but we don't know what the injuries are. We don't know if the offensive line is going to hold up. If this was a Patriots team that was rolling out there with Cole Strange and Mike Onwenu being basically a Pro Bowl player, and Strange being what I would imagine to be a competent NFL starter, they would look miles different to me. So I think the Patriots that we're seeing right now are not nearly as good as the Patriots we may be seeing soon.
Matt, I know you watched mostly the defense at practice and, of course, the Packers offense because, in Green Bay, as you said, everybody's interested in Jordan Love. But sort of a wider macro view of the Patriots offense, what is the view of Mac Jones, this wide receiver core, Zeke Elliott being added? What are the opinions of this offense outside of New England?
Yeah, I think anytime you look at an offense, it starts with the quarterback. And, we like to put quarterbacks in the tier of, do you win because of them or can you win with them? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're trying to figure out here in Green Bay, what Jordan Love is. I think Mac Jones, and Tom, I think you would agree, he's a quarterback you can win with, but maybe not you can win because of yet. So I think that is the macro view of the New England Patriots. Surely they might have one of the best running back duos in the NFL now with Stevenson and Elliott. We'll be interested to see how they kind of incorporate Elliott in. But yesterday, just from what I was hearing, some of those wide receivers who maybe you don't think of as elite, true number one guys were getting the best of a Packers secondary that people say might have one of the best cornerback duos in the league with Jair Alexander and Rasul Douglas.
Yeah, what's wild about it, too, is the point that Matt's making about winning with or winning because of. You're going to more readily win with Mac Jones. But Love has the tools and potential to win because of the physical skills that he brings. That's the difference. You got a plug-and-play guy at number 10, Mac Jones. With Jordan Love, it's more, okay, we don't know how good or how bad he might be.
Yeah, Tom, that's a perfect segue to the next thing we want to talk about, because we do expect to see Jordan Love get the start tomorrow night against the Patriots. Love needs as much playing time as possible because he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for the first 3 years of his career. Here's a look at the quarterbacks drafted in the first round from 2020 to 2022. Justin Herbert, most career starts with 49. Mac Jones has already started 31 games in his first 2 seasons. And then there's Love, who has just started a single game in his NFL career. So the Packers are putting a lot of faith in their unproven quarterback. Curran, you kind of talked about Mac being plug and play, but the upside and maybe winning because of Jordan Love is that guy. So if you had, and let's be honest, both teams are kind of rebuilding. They're trying to figure out how they can move forward in the future. Which quarterback would you rather have, Curran, in the future?
Mac Jones, to me, because, again, you have an expected level of play and performance that you started witnessing at Alabama, that you saw in his first season, with an okay set of offensive weaponry around him. And then you saw him withstand a season that I think is going to build up valuable scar tissue. I would say Mac Jones because, again, you know the floor for him. It's a projection with Jordan Love. He could be Josh Allen. He could be Trey Lance. And that's very much what you're dealing with. So do you want to keep being in line every 4 years to say we got to get back in there and find our guy? Or do you want to have somebody you can feel comfortable with? A nice, solid, reliable. Which car company brings us this?
Chevrolet?
I'm not going to use a
Ford?
car. Okay.
I mean,
yes.
I think, those are the two that we have on our show. Matt, who would you go with? Would you go with your hometown guy and
Ford Edge.
Jordan Love?
Yeah, I got to make sure there are no Packer fans around because they're not going to like this. I would go with Mac Jones, too, if it's a safe bet, because we know what we're getting with him, like you said, Tom. It's a guy that you can win with. We don't know what Jordan Love's going to be. I remember I asked Aaron Rodgers after the last game of the season, if Jordan has to, is he ready to take over? And Aaron said, you just don't know. He remembered waking up to 50 text messages in the summer of '08 saying, you're the guy now. Brett Favre's officially gone. And Aaron said it kind of hit him all at once, but he didn't really know until he's thrown into the fire. And that's where we're at with Jordan Love. Like you said, he probably won't be the next Hall of Famer here, but there's a chance he's an elite quarterback. There's also a chance he stinks. So if I'm a gambling man, I'm taking the safe bet with Mac Jones.
Wow, I thought I was going to have to break a tie here, and I was actually going to go Jordan Love because I went back and read all of the pre-draft scouting reports on him, and one thing stuck out to me. Almost every draft Nick said he can't start right away. He needs to sit and watch Aaron Rodgers, and if he does that and learns to limit his mistakes, his high end, he could be a boom quarterback and be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And to me, that's how you win a Super Bowl in the NFL, not going with the safe bet, but taking the risk. But you guys are going Mac Jones. I like it. Well, which is a better approach, guys, to replacing a legendary quarterback? Is it best to do what the Packers did, Matt? Draft someone, let them sit behind Aaron Rodgers and learn, or do what the Patriots did, which wait until after your legendary guy is gone and say, you know what, Mac, here's the keys to the cars. Drive it.
Well, we're about to find out, aren't we? I know it's obviously with the history here in Green Bay, you can say it's to draft the guy and have him sit 3 years because that's what the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre, and we see how that worked out. Now, the odds of that happening again are slim to none, but I think there is value in having Jordan Love sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn from him, learn his tendencies and all that. We're going to see parts of Aaron Rodgers' game in Jordan Love. They're very different, but I think, depending on the situation, you could go both ways. I know Brian Gutekunst, the general manager here, entering his 6th year, has gotten a lot of flack for drafting someone coming off an NFC Championship game loss that wouldn't help them right away. But he gets a chance to tell everyone, I told you so this year. We're going to see if it pays off.
What's interesting to me is we have a litany of examples of why it's better, from Steve Young to Brett Favre himself to Brady to Mahomes to, we could just keep going. Peyton Manning's an outlier, but most of the best quarterbacks, Elway's an outlier, Marino's an outlier, but most of the best quarterbacks are ones who learned, there's more to it than just drop back, scan the defense, and throw. And they learned at the foot of a very, very, very good quarterback, which Drew Bledsoe, I think, was. Even though I had my issues with him late, he was too. So I think that overall, Trenni, if you look at history, it's best to get that apprenticeship.